Hey, partners, welcome back. So, today we're going to talk about debt. And I'm not just talking about the numbers, the strategies, prioritizing your debt. We're going beyond the numbers today and we're going to dig into the psychology of debt. Because if you've ever been in debt, and I surely have, okay, you know that it's not just about the numbers, it's about the mindset as well. So we talk about this a lot inside of my Wealth on Fire Academy, which is why we have life coaches and therapists and things of that sort come in, because the process of getting out of debt is long, but the emotional impact is also heavy. And I want to make sure we are whole as we are migrating through and coming out of it, so we have everything inside of us in order to be able to crush our financial goals. Now, if you are new to the channel, hey, I am Netiva, the Frugal CrediTnista. I am a financial educator, a business coach, and strategist, and I educate, equip, and empower people just like you how to transform their finances and light their financial goals on fire. So if you like what I'm laying down, definitely feel free to subscribe, like, share. We would love to welcome you into our Prosperity Partners family. So let's get into it. As I mentioned before, debt just isn't about the numbers. It is not. I wish it was, but it is literally a full blown emotional experience that impacts everything from our daily moods, our relationships, our ability to plan short term, but especially long term for the future. It is stressful. It is stressful. And this stress shows up as tension, sleepless nights, and for me, headaches. I would get headaches like crazy. And I wish that that feeling was temporary, but it like to marinate and stick around for a while. And that's one of the reasons why I've always said that our response to debt, like each of us individually, it is like super complex. Like it's not just one singular thing. I mentioned stress because that's the first thing that pops into my mind. But it's also that stress is also mixed in with a sense of responsibility, not just to the creditors, but the responsibility to ourselves, to our goals, to maybe if we have a partner or a spouse, our responsibility and our long-term relationship with them and how our goals together are impacted. It's anxiety, it's fear, especially when we think about our future. And if we have kids, even worse. Like that's a lot to consider, right? So it's not just, oh, my dad, I'm so stressed about that. It's all of that. And so recognizing and then addressing those emotional reactions is key. And it's not just about dealing with the numbers. And that's one thing inside of Wealth on Fire, my other financial programs, is that I'm always taking it back to this because money is personal, personal finances. So we're talking about our entire emotional well-being, our entire being, period. Okay. Not just the emotional side. I'm talking physical, emotional, mental, all of it. And so one of the things that I love to teach about or have other experts that we bring in to teach about is how to recognize the emotional responses, these triggers, so that we can break free or at least better navigate it. How to shift our mindsets from that weight, that scarcity, that fear, so that we have clarity, so that we have confidence, and so that we have control. Because when you're in that state of mind, then you're able to activate the logical side of your brain so that you can ensure that you are taking the steps to understand and manage your debt the right way so that you can not only get to debt freedom, but clear up get mental freedom, okay? Get mental freedom. I want you guys to change the narrative from feeling like I have so many people that take on oh my God, I can't believe this happened to me. Being like I guess I could say a victim of debt to being like a master over your finances. That's where I want us to be. And it is a process. I'm not going to lie to you. I know for me personally, I found myself over $500,000 in primarily medical debt. I was diagnosed with cancer, and then my industry was impacted by the Great Recession. And then after my surgery, I found out I was pregnant. We were pregnant with our first child, and going through all of that back to back to back. Doesn't life always happen like that? But back to back to back, I had horrible insurance. So can you imagine what that bill looked like? And because I had people working on me with very important things, I was like, oh, well, I have 6 figures worth of credit cards. Let me just make sure that the people that are taking care of me the most are paid by swiping. So instead of like resolving the issue, I went to, okay, let me cover it up by swiping. Let me cover it by swiping. And that whole process right there was a hot mess as well. And I always say inside of my classes and inside of the academy when I'm teaching is that we want to, our goal isn't just to clear numbers off of our spreadsheet. I'm big on absent spreadsheets when it comes to prioritizing debts and creating a plan for it, right? It's also to lift the emotional weight that comes with all of it, to free ourselves not just on the financial side, but mentally and emotionally. That is real freedom. That's real financial freedom too. That's real financial freedom too. So let's dive into understanding why we often find ourselves in debt. I had to do this after, yes, I filed bankruptcy, but after I filed bankruptcy, I had a great counselor at a nonprofit. Then we had to go in person. And she kind of started getting into this. I never really budgeted because I always had money until the recession. Those of you who are realtors during that time, you know the industry was incredible, okay? It was like making it rain off of trees, shaking trees, money was popping out. The industry was good at the time. But I also knew that my habits weren't the best, right? But I can also say that it's not always about reckless spending or poor financial planning, even though that was one of my issues. But sometimes life can life, okay? I could have been okay had I not got diagnosed with cancer. And some of you have even expressed with me that unexpected medical expenses, unexpected educational needs, whether with yourself or the kids, divorce, loss of a spouse or other loved ones, these are real scenarios that bring real other emotions and also real challenges, not just with us, but also finances as well. But of course, there's more to it than even that. Our spending, our borrowing habits are tied to even deeper emotional needs. And I didn't know this until I started studying to be a life coach, which was some years back. No, I'm not a practicing life coach, by the way. But it was interesting to get to the psychological root of a lot of our decisions. So when you think about it, have you ever bought something not because you needed it, but because it made you feel better, even just for a moment? Because I know I have. And I notice for me that when things are great or something dope happens, it's like, oh my God, let me go spend some money. When I'm not feeling the best, let me go get a little retail therapy. Well, I'll just go get a coffee. And it's just something about sitting there, eating something I can't afford and drinking an expensive coffee that definitely shouldn't be spending my money on. It emotionally felt better for me. So this emotional spending is pretty common. It's a pretty common reaction or response to stress because it allows you to temporarily escape from what's really going on around you. And not only did I go through that, but I've watched my sister go through this. If there's anything uncomfortable, stressful, I've watched my mom go through this. I've watched my grandmother go through this. I've watched aunts, my great grandmother, the whole line. So our upbringing, the people around us, societal pressures, don't even get me started what our babies are going through with social media. I hope that's not us. I mean, most of my audience, I won't say all of you, okay, but most of us are like over 30, over 35. Like, I hope it's not us at this point. And if it is, recognize it so that we can what? Break free of it. But all of these things influences or plays a role. The way we were taught about money, our financial habits, what we've observed in our family, societal norms. I have a lot of our prosperity partners who are from the islands, who are from different cultures, where the societal norm is if you go to Europe or if you go to America, you will send home a nice chunk of your money. And with the economy the way it is today, it is literally emptying their pockets faster than anything that I've seen before. But that societal expectation, that cultural, I should say, instead of societal, that cultural expectation is really causing a financial strain. But it's also shaping our attitudes around money, around finances, around debt. And then I'm sure you're probably one of them, have always heard, I was never taught about money. I was never taught about credit. I was never taught how to properly manage money. And this is why I am today. but we were not taught, especially at our big age, almost everything that we're experiencing now. Okay. So we have seen also, so what I meant by that is that we can also learn how to navigate things that we were not taught about finances. But okay, so we've seen debt being used to achieve short-term goals as well without even understanding the long-term ramifications or implications. So what do I mean about that? Well, when I was in my 20s to 20s, most of my 20s, the real estate investments boom was going bananas in Chicago where I live, mostly African Americans, and they were using whatever debt methods they could because the prices were so incredibly great during that time. Now, I'm not sure how your industry dealt with the Great Recession as well as far as real estate values, but we had properties that were in the 200s, quarter mil, 300,000 that were now less than 50,000. And so if you were able to acquire the funds, whether it was from your credit cards, whether it's from personal loans, whether it's from hard money lenders, whatever, you were doing whatever was necessary to get those properties because it hadn't been accessible to us previously. And so not understanding the long-term implications means A, it's got to be paid back. B, because of the method that you use to acquire the funding, it was very high interest rates and the repayment terms were not that great. And so a lot of people ended up in much worse positions financially, even though they had this property that was supposed to push them or propel them forward into what they consider wealth to be. And so that's what I mean by understanding the long-term implications of our actions by trying to use debt as a tool, which is definitely a tool to use, right? Okay. And then let's talk about credit. Now, you know, I am the frugal CrediTnista. Okay, credit is my jam, but I also know how the lure of credit works. And it's why I work so hard in our community to get us away from flashing our fan of credit cards, thinking that's a flex when it's really just saying I'm able to borrow more money. I'd rather us flash our stocks. I'd rather us flash our real estate portfolio. I'd rather us flash to things that we're doing to up level our lifestyle and live authentically the happy, full, out loud lives that we desire to be, other than some credit cards. Okay, what you do? You got 6-figure worth of credit cards. It's like, it's not a big flex. I want us to live more. I want us to experience more. I want us to hold on to joy more. But anywho, this is why I have slides, by the way, when I teach, because I can get off and go into a totally different subject. But let's talk about credit. It is very tempting to use credit as an extension of our money and to live beyond our means. Incredibly easy to do that in our economy. Credit cards, loans, buy now, pay later, those type of things. And this can create the illusion and make us feel that we have more financial freedom or our finances are more important than they really are. And so when something happens, like with me, or when something happens like unemployment, that's happening a lot right now. When something happens, when those lines of credit gets cut, that happened a lot a few years ago, they were cutting them like crazy, a couple of years ago actually, then this can cause the debt to spiral. It like, whoop, pop that balloon. And so it resulted in people going back to other methods of borrowing that had been kind of low-key money people weren't really rocking with, such as the title loans and the payday loans and all of that good stuff, because now they had to pay off this high credit card debt. And then it created an even bigger cycle. And so that's where the commentary of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it's hard to break. It's really hard to break. And that's why I want us to understand these factors, because understanding comes before breaking the cycle. And so I know that inside of the community, I remember we had, freeze your cards, cut up the cards after you did your budget, after you did your debt payoff plan. But it has to go beyond that. It has to go beyond cutting the cards. It has to work with, I'll never say go beyond a budget, because that's like key. You got to manage your money. We're working hard to buy it. But it's also about, not buy it, but earn it rather. It's also about addressing the underlying reasons of why we got into debt. And that understanding will empower you to make more mindful decisions, to spend and borrow not out of habits, or emotion, but really because A, it's a need, aka a house, aka a vehicle that aligns with your strategic plan. That aligns with your plan. Every training you're gonna have with me, it's about what's the plan, what's the goal, what's the why behind it, what's this, what's that. Because it's so important that we're not robots following along on what we should be doing with our lives, but really sitting back and saying, what do I really effing want? How can I get there? And then really learning how to get there and then removing the obstacles, removing the clutter so that we can actually get it. So I want you to keep this in mind, okay? Overcoming debt starts with understanding why you're in it. You have to rewire your financial habits, your mindsets, step away from the cycle of emotional spending, living beyond our means, okay? So that you can have a path of financial awareness and responsibility. So key. So key. All right, so let's get into debts and self-perception and how that's connected, how that's related. Because debt really has a profound impact on our self-esteem, our self-image, our confidence. Oh my God, our confidence. It's a lot. It shapes how we see ourselves. I have never had so many people in our community who I've seen who've been following me for like the last 5-10 years, what have you, talk about themselves in the manner that they are. To use words like, I'm so disappointed in myself. I can't believe this happened to me. I'm so embarrassed. I'm. You see how it's shaping the way we view, see, talk, and think about ourselves? How it puts us in a situation where we start to view ourselves as a failure. And it keeps you trapped as long as you're in that cycle. Emotionally and mentally, you're trapped in that negativity and in that stress and the anxiety and that weight of responsibility and that fear. And so what if we shift and view debt as just a phase of our financial journey? So what do I have on my desk here? Okay, I don't know. I have a file thing and I have a pen. So this is the journey. Okay, I guess I need another thing. Let me get another pen, highlighter. What if debt was just here? Right? So this is the start. This is where debt is. And then, the end is all the way over here. What if debt was just a little mark? Just a little mark in our journey. That's all it is. It's a phase. What if it was just a little bump? Now, I could have just did a little dot, but that is pink for a reason, okay? It's a significant bump that we don't want to get back in, okay? But it's just a phase in our financial journey and not a permanent mark on our identity and who we are. So we need to recognize and get to the point of recognize that our current financial situation doesn't define our worth, doesn't define who we are and our identity, and if a dollar short does not define our potential. Now, getting there takes a lot. I'll go into that at the end, at least of how it works for me. But when you think about debt as just like a little phase, okay, just a small little few pages or maybe even a chapter in our life's journey, financial journey. So if our financial journey was a book, it would just be, this much of it. When you think about it that way, it allows you to approach debt with a sense of control and optimism because of how much life can exist afterwards. And we start to see ourselves as active problem solvers instead of, I'm a victim of circumstance. And we realize that getting into debt isn't the end of your story. It's not the end of the world. It's just a chapter, and one that we are fully capable of, I won't say rewriting, but the chapters afterwards will make that seem so minute. I want you to remember that overcoming debt is as much about changing our thoughts as it is about changing our habits. Both are so important. But before the habits can come about, it has to come here. I'll never forget. I say this about Patrice Washington all the time. I don't remember where I saw her speak, but she was like, well, if you want to, reach any type of financial goal, you have to reach it here before you reach it here. And I was like, but I need that money right here. Like, I just didn't get it. I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't want to hear anything else she talked about, but oh my gosh, is it not true? The mindset controls everything. Your outlook controls everything. And I think what makes it so sound cliche, even though it's not, is because the stress of it all, we just want a resolution. We don't want to go through the mindset steps. And I always be like, but we don't want to go through that. We just want a resolution and to live on with our lives. But if you don't change them habits and first change the mindset that's going to allow them habits to change, that's when the cycle keeps starting too. You get out of debt, you get back in. You fix your credit, jack back up. It's like constant. It's like, oh my God, when is this going to stop? This is why it's so important to really focus on the mindset and how we view ourselves in relation to our finances, in relation to debt. We empower ourselves just with that mindset, how to take positive and proactive steps. Okay, I'll be the first to tell you debt is a challenge. It is a challenge, no denying that. But one thing it is not a character flaw. It's a phase, and we can and will overcome it. We just need a strategic plan of action to crush it. That's it. And that's literally the next step. Create a plan of action. Create it, review it, tweak it. You can't create it and be done with it. No. Not when it comes to finances. You got to have a system, okay? You create it, you review it, you tweak it. And you have to tweak it because some things are going to be off. You're going to grow. Plans are going to change. Life is going to happen. Debt may get paid off. One company said they were going to do this or accept this and then change your mind. So you're always tweaking and adjusting, working it, always. And you do this on a regular basis. You set the tempo, you set the pace, and you do this until you're free of it. But also pay attention and heal the person in your personal finances. And again, wealth creators, if you're in my Wealth on Fire Academy, this is why we have regular mindset person classes and lives. This is why we have those experts in. And if you're not a wealth creator, most of you will be live with me in the Wealth Creators Academy, but that's fine. I want you to check in with yourself often. How do you check in with yourself? Meditation, affirmations, journaling, prayer, making sure you're setting and achieving short and long-term goals, making sure you have a plan for them, because your money needs a job. It's a tool. What does a tool do? If a tool is not used, it gets rusty. Don't let your money get rusty, because then here come debt creeping along, right? So you want to make sure your money is used as a tool and constantly working for you and the goals that you want to crush. We got to make sure our money stays employed, okay? And has a specific job to fulfill. If you've been in my Boss Up Your Budget training, we talk about this a lot, because that's how we know that our money is working to fulfill our desired dream life, okay? And to ensure that doing that, continuously moving forward, we're also not forgetting about the power of community. And hopefully you'll find this to be the place where you have that community, but sharing where you are in your journey, not just your wins. I mean, have you ever been in a community where everything is going great? When are we going to have a real community where people actually share their faults and not be shamed for it? That's one of the main reasons why I created my communities, both for free one, Prosperity Partners. I'll leave the email list below. But in addition to my academy, Wealth on Fire Academy, because I wanted people to be real and transparent with each other. Don't just come in here and share your wins. Let me know what's going on. What's up? What are you stuck on? What do you need support through? What do you need accountability in? Share the journey and then learn from others, whether they're in similar situations or not. And this builds that network of encouragement and wisdom. And that is exactly why I'm always saying partner up, buddy up. It doesn't matter if you're in the academy or we have, one of our individual classes. During this one, you've heard me mention Ditch the Debt, Boss Up Your Budget. I have some more. I'm always saying, okay, at the very beginning, buddy up. Buddy up, all right? And I'll say it to you, my prosperity partner, you are not alone in this journey. You don't have to be alone in this journey. We got you. Trust me, my community, no. We are a no shaming, no judgment, empowering you to crush it community. We got you. So together, we are stronger. We are stronger. All right. So again, tackling debt is a journey. It's ups and downs, and that's just what comes in it. But with the right strategy, with a supportive community, by continuously learning, developing your positive mindset, those are the things that's going to equip you for success and get you to the end point where both you come out being financially free, but you're also going to come out being financially whole. I'll definitely leave the link for you for my Wealth on Fire Academy, and some of my workshops that I tend to do throughout the year, such as I mentioned, Boss Up Your Budget, Ditch Your Debt, Conquer Your Credit, and all of that good stuff. And even my free, I shouldn't say free, but my email list as well, because I really want you to stay connected, stay plugged in with me, so that I can know where you are along your journey. Let me know about you, where you're at, what I think the best method should be for you, so you can really get the support and the knowledge that you need. Now, at the highest level, of course, it's going to be inside of Wealth on Fire, because it's not just me, it's my team of coaches. I have experts that come in every single month. I mentioned life coaches, clinical life therapists, attorneys, all of that good stuff, coming in for the sole purpose to help you build that solid financial foundation so you can light your financial goals on fire. So that's that. Hopefully this was good stuff for you. Thanks so much for rocking out with me. And if you've made it this far, I mean, you are officially a prosperity partner now. Okay, so you might as well like and subscribe so we can level our finances up together. See you inside the next video.